So today we have some brand new screenshots coming from F1 Manager 24 and some even juicier gameplay details from the game, including some features that I know a lot of people are going to be excited about, that we've been asking for since, you know, the game came out basically, and Frontier are actually listening to us of how to take the game forwards in a direction that we all want. This is all coming from a recent stream, Frontier Unlocked, where they discuss all their new games, including F1 Manager 24, and the big headline things coming out from this segment of F1 Manager was new graphics, even better driver faces, teams moving in the pit lane now, depending on their championship position from the previous season, an all-new mentality system, simming races now so you can get further into the career saves, and finally, AI teams now having the ability to organically poach staff and drivers. If that all sounds rather exciting, then be sure to hit the like button and let's dive in and get into the nitty-gritty. I'll be playing clips from the stream because you may have missed it and don't want to go and go check it out or whatever, so I'll just play them here basically. And to be fair, I don't know about you guys, but for me it's always nice to actually hear it directly from the developers' mouths, to actually see what they're on about, and you know, you can't misconstrue what they mean because obviously they've developed it basically. So we're going to go through, I'll give my reactions as we go through each of the different segments, but yeah, those are the big headline things. Really cool stuff, especially, you know, the mentality system actually is quite a large segment, so that will be probably the last thing we talk about because that's quite a hefty thing. But you know, things like simming races, so now you can actually just go, oh, the Monaco Grand Prix, don't want to do it, just sim the race. And you know what, this will mean that for those of us who want to play multiple seasons, really get into a alternate F1 timeline, we can actually sim through loads of races, really get into it. This is gonna be great also for like experiments. If you want to experiment with what could happen in 5 years time, you can now get to 5 years very quickly by simulating through the races. And then AI teams poaching staff and drivers, that just means, you know, that plays into the mentality system basically, as I understand it from listening to the stream, is basically if you don't keep up the mentality of your drivers, if it's not positive, maybe they look elsewhere, maybe they're open to negotiations. And now, unlike previous F1 Manager games, AI teams are now actually working on their own to maybe poach your drivers if the mentality isn't good, or even in the same way your staff have that same mentality. And just finally, a little reaction on the team's moving order. It's a small thing, but F1 fans always enjoy the small details. So teams moving order in the pit lane, it's a small thing, but it's a great thing that I think a lot of you will appreciate because it comes up all the time basically. It comes up all the time. But anyway, let's delve into the first bit, new graphics, and let's hear the developers talk through the process of moving from last year to this year. It's always impressive that they're going to improve the graphics of a manager game because, to be fair, maybe they don't really need to, but they are, and it's on Unreal, so it always looks pretty good.
Yeah, so it's super exciting. The art team's really kind of lifted the bar on the quality that we're achieving this year. So we're looking at some lovely pictures here. Hopefully people at home can see this. So we've got some really nice detail that we've added, things like the racing line. So I think in the sort of previous versions of the game, the tracks didn't quite have the life that comes from the sort of evolution over the weekend. So now we've got that in. We've got nice little details like the marbling at the side of the track. The way the grass interacts with the track is much more natural as well. You can sort of see these like paths and things that you're seeing in the circuits in real life. A lot of this stuff comes from the satellite photography that we've used to build the circuit, so it's another great way that we're able to sort of use that to bring these tracks to life. You can see sort of the pit lanes, the sort of paddock areas. They've got a lot more colour in this year. So we're using a technique called splat mapping to do a lot of this.
Now, you mentioned this before. Now, please explain to me splat mapping, because it's my favourite term I think I've heard in my entire time at Frontier Towers. Splat mapping is my favourite thing. What is it?
It's a bit like running wild with a paintball gun. So rather than having a single image that's applied to the surface, we literally, you go around and you splat on these additional bits of detail. So they can be very small patches of details, and they layer up and create this very organic and natural looking surface that sort of replicates what you see in the real world.
So it was really cool to see actually in that video clip the transition from I guess last year's game into this upcoming F1 Manager 24, and seeing that level of difference and detail, and also the lighting on that last vista with the Ferrari car was really cool as well. And coming up now, a little chat on the driver faces, and just take a look at Teo Porcher and Liam Lawson. Really good scans, really good scans.
So we've added to our little driver roster. So here we're looking at Teo Pourchaire. So for fans of the series, Teo is one of the most signed drivers in previous versions of the game. So here he is, joining our little driver rostrum. So you can enjoy putting him on the podium, hopefully, signing him to your winning team. And the other driver that we're looking at here is Liam Lawson. So Liam obviously got some action last year in F1. So we think it's appropriate to add him there, so you can also kind of recreate that. It gives you some more options, some nice visuals to look at. It's just great to add to the driver roster.
So graphically, F1 Manager 24 is going to be on the up compared to last year's game. Now let's talk about actual gameplay, and we're going to just rattle through clips about simming races and then also AI teams poaching you as well, and what could actually cause an AI team to poach your drivers and your staff as well.
But one thing that I did notice as we were going through this video, he was talking about sort of progressing on throughout the season. Did I just watch us sim a race?
We did.
Did I see that? Or am I just being silly?
We did simulate a race. Yeah, that's another one of our new features for this year. So
another tick.
Another tick. 3 mini exclusives for Unlocked. Yes.
Yeah. We're really looking to offer a different approach to play here, a new way to play the game. People really want to get far into the future and experience, an alternative reality. So giving people the ability to simulate races enables that. It enables you to get deep into the game, see how your decisions are unfolding further into the future.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I sort of had a little mini playthrough while we were developing it, I prefer picking the teams at the back and that kind of challenge of building them up, and it makes it so much more kind of enjoyable. I can really focus on like building my team and putting my stamp on the team and how I want to develop it, and then in season 2 and season 3 then you can sit there and you can sort of enjoy all that lovely race management that we've got there, and you can really capitalize on how you've developed the team and you can take them forward. It feels I'm in control a lot more. We
touched on really briefly, but I think we have some screens to show as well. Mentality is important because if driver's mentality or staff mentality drops, there's an option they could get poached. So we have some poaching screens to show. So there's going to be some poaching going on, right?
That's right, yeah. So in F1 Manager 2024, your drivers and staff are susceptible to AI poaching. And if, as you'd expect in real life, if someone's not feeling good about their team, if someone's not feeling good about their team principle, they're going to be more likely to listen to those offers and
whispering in their ear.
Consider them, yeah. Whereas if they're feeling really great, if they're feeling really positive about their place in the team and the performance of their team, they're more likely to stick with you and sign with you and not hear those offers. Yeah. So AI poaching combined with mentality just adds to that new layer of team management.
It was really interesting to see the sort of the Lewis Mercedes Ferrari situation kind of evolve. We were already talking about this and planning this feature and building it, and you can see it in real life.
So it's that meme that you're just pointing at the screen going, this is what we're doing. We're doing this.
You can imagine perhaps his mentality was not positive, and so Ferrari saw their opportunity and got in there to poach.
But you can see his race results, right? So Lewis, 7 times world champion, he's got an amazing driver rating. Why is he not performing? He's not a worse driver. It's his mentality. Yeah. And adding that to the game adds so much more flavour in terms of how your drivers and your staff kind of evolve and how you play through it, and the mechanics that you've really got to leverage to get those right results. There are so many more ways to play the game this year, so it's super exciting when we see this stuff in real life, and we're kind of delivering that sort of real authentic F1 experience.
So that's really cool. Obviously very realistic. Obviously, biggest case in point recently has been Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, but it's actually cool. We're going to get proper UI and emails about, okay, so-and-so has offered a contract to our driver. Do you want to rebuttal? Do you want to come back? Do you want to do anything about it? And the long-term play of just keeping your drivers and staff happy so it doesn't even happen in the first place is really great. So no longer, because I've done it in the past in my career modes, you guys have seen it maybe, that we've not paid attention too much to morale, which was the old system in F1 Manager 23, or the morale of the staff or the drivers, kind of just get on with it kind of thing, especially when it comes to renewing contracts of staff. I've sometimes just left it really late. Now, if you leave it too late, maybe the staff member gets annoyed that you've not renewed their contract, and they look for, pastures new, basically. The grass is greener elsewhere, maybe. So you have to think about that. And the same thing with your drivers as well, trying to lock them down, but then keeping them happy, with that number 1 status v number 2, or equal drivers, or if they're getting in the way of each other, or, God forbid, they're fighting for a championship, and you have to keep them happy, and, one of them wants to go to a rival team, because then they're going to be the #1 driver over there, basically. But now finally, we're going to get into the mentality system, which is all-encompassing. This replaces the morale system. New word is mentality now. It just sounds like, you know, maybe a name change, but mentality is a bit different, you know, because morale is just one kind of thing, like, you know, what's your morale? But mentality is split into different segments, you know, for the driver and the staff in terms of areas, you know, that they're happy about or negative about. So they can be happy about certain things and negative about others, and that all adds up to their mentality overall. But I'll just let the developer basically explain it a little bit better and more in depth, you know, from his side.
But one feature that isn't so little is we're going to talk about some of, well, I guess it's a very key feature, which is the mentality system, which is a brand new system that's coming in for Formula One Manager 24 this year. So can you speak a little bit about what the mentality system is, and because it does have quite a lot of effects within the game?
It does, yeah. So one of our key pillars this year is deeper team management, and the mentality system, you know, really speaks to that. It brings personality to all the people in the game. It adds stories and drama, and a whole new layer really of management for our players to engage with.
Yeah, and it's I guess the question, why have we added this? is the question. What have we done? I guess it's to give players that challenge, right?
Yes, exactly that. So it is. We had a morale system in our previous game, which was quite light in its effects on the gameplay, and the mentality system really, you know, replaces that morale system, brings a whole new level of depth. The drivers and staff in the game, they'll have kind of 3 key areas that feeds into their mentality. So they'll be reflecting on their performance, their team's performance, and your performance as a team principal. And there are, you know, a variety of factors that feeds into each of those 3 key areas. So as we can see some on the screen here, each of those factors is affecting their mentality, driving it up, driving it down. As their mentality goes up and goes down, that is going to have a direct impact on their performance on race day. It's going to impact their lap times. It's going to impact how they feel outside of a race as well. So if they are feeling down, if they are negative, they might be more susceptible to being poached by another team, for example.
So you can be poached from other teams. Yeah,
yes, that's right. So it's really important, you know, to take this whole new layer of management on board and consider it as you play, because there'll be impacts in all the decisions you make will feed into driver.
But this is all, you said staff as well, right? So it's not just about, I mean, it's easy to get fixated, I guess, on the driver aspect of it, of course, but it can affect staff, and that also has knock-on parts. I said parts because that's what I was leading into, chat. But you could have people that are designing parts for your cars at low morale, and then
Yep, drivers and staff, so your entire team. And you'll be able to see all of this in the new Mentality Hub as well, so you get a snapshot of what's going on within your entire team. If your staff are feeling positive or negative, that will be reflected in their performance as well. So as you say, designing car parts, building car parts will be impacted by their mentality. Their opinions of their driver, so the staff's opinion of their driver's weekend performance is going to impact the mentality. So it feeds through the entire game to have an impact everywhere.
So it does sound like a very intricate new system in the game, and again comes with like new UI and new kind of little things to look at basically in the menus and to play around with. So things like, you know, with the Mentality Hub and the drivers, you know, personal situation, team performance, team principal management. So the drivers will have an opinion on us basically, and then also their own situation and the team perspective. And it's going to be the same thing with your staff as well. So again, you know, you can't basically ignore what, you know, different cues, be it emails or whatever. You can't ignore it now. You have to actually manage it all, so it actually makes for a more realistic experience basically. And I thought it was quite good, like overall you have that summary of mentality as well, so you can kind of get a bigger picture of it. So you kind of, you know, it's not just guessing off, you know, the individual bits. You kind of get that overall kind of, okay, are they, you know, overall happy, which is kind of more like the morale system. The mentality is kind of more breaking it down into the different parts. And obviously this is all in the context of the fact that we now get to create our own team. So, you know, in the screenshots and the gameplay bit, you know, they were managing, you know, Alpine, for example, and it was actual real teams, but we might have to figure it out in our own team. So, you know, that will be another, you know, added case of, you know, it will be our own pressures of, you know, do we want to get a big driver, but then will he actually have the mentality to stay in the team? If we're struggling, we're still growing as a 11th made up team on the grid, basically, and we're still yet to know other things about essentially the my team of F1 Manager. This was actually all on kind of base level features that you could play out even if you play as one of the official teams. So and they did say that at the end of the stream that there's still a lot more info to come on the actual creator team career mode aspect of the game. So we wait for it, but like I've always said, get subscribed here if you're new, because as soon as any news drops with these streams or etc, I'll be on it as quick as I can. If you have enjoyed this video, guys, and have enjoyed those juicy details, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. What's your favorite bit out of all these different new details, and are you liking the look of the actual graphic fidelity and improvements in F1 Manager 24? Let me know in the comments below. But till next time, guys, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.